Leave your comments on the Ask Reddit sub, and I'll read your answers on the next episode of LWIAR 2. People who let their mom count to 0, what happened after? She reset me to the factory settings. A hard reset, as we called it. I can physically feel pain just reading these comments. They triggered my childhood trauma. Parents in India can be complete buttholes. Truey, but you can tell what happened to me by my username. Sad face. My mom is from India. The things she said and did to me made me decide that if I ever have kids, she's not ever going to have any sort of contact with them. Hell, if I can help it, I won't invite her to my wedding either. If I can help it. It's your wedding, dude. Invite whoever the hell you like. It's your day, not hers. Anyone who makes your wedding about them is not someone you need at your wedding. I see you never had an Indian mom. When you're Indian, family is not about the choices you make. They are all about the choices they make. Edit. Carrot. This is the first gold I get. LMAO. Reddit still surprises me. Anyway, as tradition dictates. Thanks, kind stranger. You, not Piola_. She was bluffing, but only the first time. Well, if the comment section is any hint of what happened, she was counting again so you wouldn't run away as she grabbed a wooden spoon. Oh man, I'm old now, but that brings back an old memory. When I was born, I already had 5 older brothers and mom had an 8-year break from having children. Then surprise, Nibbles McGiblet came along. As the only girl, I sometimes heard stories of how bad my brothers had been when they were my age. Probably told to keep me from getting into similar trouble. And I definitely remember my mom saying the only time she ever used anything to spank any of us, it was a wooden spoon on my second to oldest brother. Apparently it broke as she spanked him with it. He was a teen, and it left a mark, and she vowed not to do that to any of the other kids for any reason. And then didn't, until I had hair down to my butt and was the only girl. And at one point I thought that brushing my hair WIHT around brush would make it curly. No, it made it tangled. My mom spent a couple of hours working that knot out and then swatted me with the brush. Edited to add, to the person who thought it was appropriate to call my dearly loved and now deceased mother. Disgusting. Go talk to your own mother that way, if you really feel that is appropriate. But keep your opinions of my mother out of it. She did a great job raising 6 kids all by herself after our father died. The same way she swatted me with the brush is the same way that if we told her a funny joke, she might swat us on the shoulder with her hand while laughing. A swat is not a slap, a hit, a punch, or a spank. It's a swat. Grow up and quit being so cruel. There's no benefit for anyone that comes from you disrespecting my dead mother. Instead, maybe go call your own mom or give her a hug and tell her you love her. Turn the frown upside down and get out of your miserable head and spread some joy to her while you can. My mum's done this to my brother. Single quote. He had no countdown but was pre-warned. Forgot what he did, but it was hilarious. Then I laughed some more as she projectiled the brush at him. It hit him and broke back. Then my brother was Granny's favorite, so he threatened to tell my gran. My mum tried to call his bluff, saying he wouldn't. When he did, my gran went, "What did you do to piss her off to deserve it, huh?" Now he's 26, he torments the crap out of our mum, so she just goes to find the brush and he runs off. Tried it once. She gave a defeated sigh, then chuckled. Then she said something like, "You're getting too old." That was the day I became a man. I'll never forget my 32nd birthday. You get old enough and you start to like it. The chase of a lifetime that ended in a red-hot posterior. She was paddling me with a small, handled wooden cutting board, but it split along the grain and I made the mistake of laughing, so she grabbed a wooden spoon. My grandma got so very pissed a couple of my cousins once that she started throwing whatever she could get her hands on. Shoes, spoons, brushes. But they were dancing around so much trying to dodge that they burst out laughing. This only pissed her off more, and their brother decided to help her out by bringing the stuff she threw back to her so she never ran out of ammo. But this only made them laugh harder while simultaneously yelling at him to stop. They reached a stalemate when they all got tired to carry on. Remember how Grandma would used to play the dodging game with us? If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, Grandma. My mom broke the wooden spoon and got the metal one. I envy you. Mine used a belt. How dare you stand where he stood? Horribly slow murder with a spoon. No, but that crap hurts for real. We had one with a hole in it. That was the really screwed up spoon. Out of us 3 kids, I was the only one who got it though. And repeatedly. She started counting to negative numbers. I think mine did fractions. 1/2, 1/4. So she never reached 0. Geez mom, hyperbolic much. Zeno's paradox. Zeno's parenting. Bold of you to assume that they are alive to tell their story. Yay, my mom got a 0. And I died from fear. Then she got super angry and started counting for me to come back to life. So I resurrected the frick up. And never got a 0 again. I had my sister's Hello Kitty belt imprint left on my butt. I see this as an absolute win. Pussies. My mom started at 0. 0 immediately punches you. Spawn kill. God, I wish my mom spawn killed me. I'm gonna count again. 5.4. 3, 2, 1.5, 1.25, 1 1/8. Oh bless you. I'd forgotten I played that game with my parents. The first time I heard 2, 1.5, 1.25, I asked why the numbers weren't getting smaller anymore, and got my first fraction lesson. That time it was an effective tool because I was so fascinated by the concept of fractions that I stopped fighting leaving the pool. The game was a reward of sorts. When I thought I'd been good enough to get an extra minute before bed, in the bath, etc. After mom or dad got to 2, I'd say 1.5. I didn't always get to play. On days when we had a minute to spare and I'd behaved, the response was 1.25, and the game was on. We went back and forth, saying a number smaller than the one before. When I messed up and accidentally went up numerically, the game was over, and I had to do whatever it was they were counting for. They made it harder as I got older, jumping random intervals, but they stopped when I finally completely understood fractions, and could go on for hours. Dad later used the game to teach me how negative numbers work, but I caught onto that one quickly. Number games like that are also fun in the car. Hardest thing as a parent is following through on punishing these kids you love more than anything else in the world. A colleague of mine had 3 small kids. Mother never followed through on disciplinary threats, so the kids ignored hers. Father gave them one warning, then always followed through. They listened to his threats. I saw it in action a few times. The kids would ignore mom and eventually dad would step in and bam. Instant compliance. Both of them absolutely adored their kids. But dad had the right idea on this matter. As the dad in a house like this, it freaking sucks. You always have to be the one to dole out the punishment. And in reality, you end up having to punish more because of the times they flat out refuse to listen to the other parent. And of course, as soon as the punishment is over, runs to the other parent for reassurance and cuddles. It's no fun always being the bad guy, even if it is just time out. I had the same type of childhood and now I'm struggling with self-discipline. Discipline your kids because it will benefit them in the long run. And also learn how to effectively teach kids discipline, by which I mean, don't take notes from this thread. I heard no most of the time and was grounded a whole lot. But it was mostly for superficial, if that's the best word for it, things. My dad, metaphorically, wore like 3 pairs of pants in my parents' relationship. He was a low-key sadist. But don't get me wrong, he does love us a lot. It was weird. It's like I was taught punishment, but not discipline. Oh man, this hits home so hard for me. My mom wasn't around, so I had no one for comfort, and your dad sounds a lot like mine. Taught punishment, but not discipline. Now I completely lack disciplinary skills towards myself and have no motivation in life because I feel like I can't do anything right. Also, didn't have any motherly nurturing to help build confidence and a healthy sense of self. Good stuff. Just say MAWP. Danger zone. 100%. It was my grandma because mom didn't give warnings like that. Grandma is tiny, so we didn't worry. Normally we would step in line up too. Once, around 13, I decided to stand my ground and her little arm made contact with the side of my head with the speed of a timber rattler. That day was rough. We learned that running from her was much more effective. Then, she learned that we were not worthy of warnings. I'm 6 feet 5 inches. My nana is about 5 feet 2 inches. One day I was being a smartass to her and my cousin. She told me to stop picking on my cousin or she'll smack me one. I kept going. My nana came up beside me and asked me to steady her while she leaned on me. I didn't think anything of it until she smacked me in the back of the head with her slipper and said, "I told you I'd smack you one if you didn't cut it out." I was 27 at the time. I'll never know. She got to 7 and, being the resident smartass, I said, "Oh cool. Showing off again. Mom, that went real well for me. Listen son, I can count to 12 now." Quote. My powers have doubled since last time we met. Count. She was coming down from 10 to 0. She beat my butt good. But years later she admitted I almost got her to laugh with my comment. The hardest thing as a mom is following through with punishment without bursting laughing. Rolling on the floor laughing. Huge props to your mom. Edit. Oh my god, my first award. I am so happy. Thanks. Upside down face, slightly smiling face. I'm just piggybacking off this comment because it was literally an oh lord moment. My mum is quite deaf. About 85% of her hearing is gone. Well, around the time it first started to fade she was in a foul mood. She screamed at me to tell my cousin to come downstairs and come and eat. As I turned and said, "Okay," and she could not read my lips, I just heard her scream from behind me. I said, "Go and get your cousin." As she opened the freezer door, pulled out a frozen loaf of bread and launched it directly at my head. I woke up about 90 seconds later with her sobbing on top of me and with a pounding headache. And she never hit me again. We also got McDonald's after. How old were you when you got knocked TF out with a frozen loaf of bread? When a B word is frozen you can imagine it as a rock sauce got a concussion from frozen meat. Oh man, your poor mother. Like, I'm sorry about your head. But that moment of "oh my god I killed my kid" is actually trauma-inducing. Maybe don't throw hard objects at your kid's head if you don't want to seriously hurt them. Just a thought. Half of my respiratory organs were destroyed. Plus ultra carrot. I woke up in the back of a wagon heading to Skyrim. Hey, you're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush. Same as us, and that thief over there. Everything goes black and the last thing I see is my mother's slipper speeding toward me. It's funny how they can make getting hit by fuzzy pink slipper feel like getting hit by a Mack truck. Because the spatula loves you, and you too disappointed them. It makes it hurt worse. She smiled and embraced me. You've passed the test, she said. You are a man now. The next day I woke up and I was a plumber with 20 years experience. What? Not my mother. Becca would say she rarely disciplined me and my siblings. But my grandma, oh no. When I went to 0, I got her classic little old Asian lady move. A sock filled with pennies thrown at me at speeds I never thought possible. Crap hurted. Every time your kids swear out a penny in your sock and soon you'll have a weapon to be. That sounds straight up prison style beating. Sounds is. I'm sure grandma has good intentions and isn't a homicidal sociopath. But this is a prison beating with a textbook weapon. So if grandma approaches you in your room later with 2 or 3 of her friends and asks how many push-ups you can do not do the push-ups. I don't get it. Can you explain? Edit. That was my premonition. But thanks to everyone who explained it. When there is a new prisoner in jail or whatever who is a big talker, or someone they want to frick up, some people will get them to do a crap load of push-ups to prove how tough they are. Then they are easy to beat up, because they have exhausted their energy. Yep, that's the one. The person on our AskReddit who I learned about this scheme from mentioned a story about a man who had been in jail for something like 40 years for raping, killing and eating his grandparents. He had been in solitary for most of that time as a danger to the other inmates. But by that time the guards figured they could put the elderly man in a cell with a large black guy, half his age. Within the very next day, the large cellmate was seeking protective custody. He had fallen for the push-up scam and the old man had kicked the crap out of him before taking his pants down and going to work. So don't do the push-ups. Hey, so what does him being black add to the story? Edit. I point it out because it seems like they are trying to make him sound scary. What does it add to your username? This is Reddit, not a Ouija board. 8. A thrashing with the thickest, heaviest leather belt she owned. Happened all too often. The bruises fade but memories last forever. I have 2 kids of my own now and in 13 years of parenting haven't resorted to violence once. Thanks for watching LWIAR 2. The best of all time r/AskReddit submissions and comments. If you like this video, check out the original LWIAR channel. And don't forget to like and subscribe.